Who will benefit from accusations of playing the race card? Will this help McCain with swing voters, or will he be seen as going negative? And is it good or bad for Obama when race becomes the top issue of the race? Let's bring in NBC News' Andrea Mitchell and Ron Brownstein of the National Journal. Both of you have covered presidential campaigns for a couple of decades now. No slur intended there, Andrea. But
no, I just started yesterday.
This is, you know, at least personally to me, this entire discussion / debate about race and how it began this week, I'm finding it pretty tedious at this stage of the week. I'm wondering, Ron Brownstein, where is this going? Who wins out of this? Who loses out of this? And why are we having this discussion?
Well, it's not too obvious to say that the loser is the country, really, and the electorate. I mean, we are in a very serious time, and this campaign has been moving along a very unserious track. It's been snippy, snarky, small-minded, daily accusations. It's already about itself. I mean, we're talking about ads and whether ads are fair and whether accusations are fair. We're not talking about underlying issues. Barack Obama made a statement today about energy that could signal a very significant change in his position on a very big issue. We can't get that into the debate. I think that in the narrow, immediate sense of the campaign, I think there is a sense that this last week McCain has taken the offensive. He's controlled the agenda. Obama has been responding. You're in a period where 75% of Americans say the country's on the wrong track, and if the election is going to be about the challenger in that environment, that would be, I think, the ideal circumstance for McCain. But the larger point by far, Mike, is that we are all, I think, losing from the tone and tenor and trajectory of this campaign.
Andrea, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, before we move into the self-flagellation stage, that it's just the media focusing on this, I've got to tell you, this is exactly what the McCain campaign wants us to focus on. John McCain gave a very serious speech today to the National Urban League and was well received and, criticized his opponent on school choice and some other substantive issues, but went before a potentially hostile audience and did very, very well indeed. As Ron has just pointed out, Barack Obama gave an important speech on the economy. But the fact is that if the McCain folks wanted us to focus on his Urban League speech, they shouldn't have put up a YouTube video on their website late today which ridicules, mocks Barack Obama in the most sarcastic way and goes after him again in what Nicole Wallace, their spokeswoman, said is what they thought was a pretty good week. John McCain just said at a news conference this was humor, it was a joke, lighten up, guys, this is funny. Well, the Obama camp says these are political, antics, tactics, and that they're not very funny, that they are political stunts, to use their phrase. I don't know how this gets to a serious point, but the McCain people think this is working for them. They called it a very good week.
Well, to prove your point about what we're doing, playing into their hands, I mean, these two substantive speeches today, one by John McCain, one by Barack Obama, here's the clip that we're going to play for you now, for you to listen to, is what John McCain said earlier today about the race issue.
His comments were clearly the race card because of what he said. Everybody can read his remarks, and in fact, his campaign retracted those remarks. So I think it's very clear, and I was very disappointed. I was very disappointed at his comments. And so his campaign retracted those remarks, so let's move on.
I mean, the bottom line is, Mike, that there were two ads and an attack video this week. One was patently false on the cancellation of the visit to the troops. One was Britney Spears and Paris Hilton. And the third today is Charlton Heston and, Barack Obama parting the waters. Isn't that the message McCain wants out?
Mike, you were asking before about who benefits from this, and obviously I think the Obama campaign and their reaction all year have made very clear they do not think they benefit when the conversation is focused directly on race. On the other hand, John McCain has displayed throughout the campaign a kind of a level of personal lack of respect, I think, for his opponent that is somewhat unseemly. I mean, there's a certain condescension in the way that he talks about Obama that is reflected in these ads. I do not think you would have seen the Britney Spears as Paris Hilton had. And I am in the camp that does think there is some racial overtone to that. But regardless of that, I do not think you would have seen an ad like that, or much less this one today, from a campaign whose principal, whose candidate, had more respect for his opponent than McCain has displayed toward Obama. And ultimately, I think that is risky for him. I don't think that will play well over time with the electorate.
So I'm thinking, Ron, that what the McCain campaign did this week, to use a baseball metaphor, is throwing in, to back Obama off the plate, which they did. They knocked him off of his message. But you're saying something a bit bigger than that. You say that John McCain has exhibited, no respect for his opponent. How has he done this?
Well, look, I think John McCain views Barack Obama very much the way he viewed Mitt Romney, or for that matter, the way George H.W. Bush viewed Bill Clinton, as someone who does not have the body of accomplishments and experience to be president. And I think McCain has let that be clear in a variety of ways throughout the campaign when he talked about bringing Obama to Iraq to, quote, educate him, when he has been in this portrayal of him as simply a celebrity. Barack Obama won more votes this spring than any Democratic candidate in history during the party primaries. Going back to, John F. Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, some pretty big figures. It is just simply not an accurate reflection of reality to say that this is someone who is simply a celebrity. I mean, that he has political accomplishments, and I think that sense that emanates from McCain himself and is, I think, reinforced by those around him. Now, the McCain campaign says, well, Obama's contemptuous of McCain, but you don't see Obama talking. They both criticize each other on issues, and that's their right. But you don't see Obama talking about McCain with the same edge that you do see McCain talking about Obama. And I think that is reflected in these ads, leaving aside the other issues of whether there's a racial component and so forth. Undeniably, these ads show a fundamental view about Obama that I think does display a certain kind of condescension.
So, Andrea, do you think that the McCain campaign, at some point, they figured, they've injected race into the discussion. Will they move on, or will they keep at this? I mean, clearly, Ron's right. I agree with him. I mean, anytime the discussion is about race, Obama loses. He's on the short side of it.
Well, I think that there is a contempt, which is what Ron is suggesting, a contempt, really, that the candidate himself and people around him feel towards Barack Obama. And I think they think this is working. I just interviewed someone, a political expert, who said this is a cold, calculated effort. They have figured it out, that this is the way to bring him down, to change the storyline about who Barack Obama is, do it before it is too late, before he reaches the level of acceptance and familiarity to the American voter that makes him a viable possible alternative for president, and that they feel that by defining him this way and defining him early, that they will ridicule, trivialize, and lower his, standing by a couple of notches. And if you look, I'm not one to track polls, daily tracking polls. I don't think are terribly important at this stage of the game, nor are they realistic given the state-by-state nature of the electoral vote. But if you look at the overall tracking poll, bit by bit, 9 points down over the week, Barack Obama, and they're now dead even.
Real quick, Mike, it's also shifting the fundamental focus of the race, right? I mean, you're talking about a period in which more than 3/4 of Americans say the country is on the wrong track. The president's job approval is at 30% or lower. There is a strong inclination in the electorate for change. In environments like that in the past, it's been very difficult for the president's party to hold the White House, whether it was Lyndon Johnson in 1968 or Harry Truman in 52 or Woodrow Wilson in 1920. They lost the White House. This is an effort to shift the focus not toward whether you want to fundamentally continue in the direction that the country is going now that has been set by President Bush, but do you trust Barack Obama to be commander-in-chief and to be president? And if the Obama campaign allows the locus of the campaign to shift toward him rather than the country's direction under Bush, that would be kind of an historic example of political malpractice, and one that would greatly increase McCain's odds of winning this election.
And one footnote here, what else happened today? 51,000 fewer jobs. Those were the numbers that came out today. That's not what we're talking about tonight.
Oh, Andrea Mitchell, Ron Brownstein, thanks very much. Whatever happened to the sunshine of the Lincoln-Douglas debates that we heard about a month ago? That's gone, I guess. Up next, Jay Leno has some